She wears glasses. She reads the newspaper. She writes essays about scientific discoveries. It's a post-pandemic world. The world is relieved. She looks a bit like me, only different. She is me in the future. She wears a plaid shirt with some nice colors in it. She opens it to let her chest show a little. As usual, it's hard to remember to wear a necklace. She received a necklace during the time when the vaccines were coming out. It was a necklace from a friend and her family. It signified their hopes for her to have some nice things in her life. Her friend wore glasses, not sure what kind, and curly blonde hair, a bit of a style like a bling heroine, as she found nice things for me to wear. Her family watched, admiring her and wanting me to feel well. There was the bigger man with the keen look of discovering some things around him, wearing the graying hair and nice fancy slippers, and the strong woman with the gentle gray hair and the ponytail with nurturing qualities and a strong faith, with the smile to light up the young people around her, and to feel good about that. Something rarely seen but happily noticed, I was writing essays after things have settled down, and realized upon reaching for my necklace and realizing it wasn't there that something was missing from my scientific essay writing. It felt absurdly empty to feel my chest, and there was no necklace. My hands flustered around and reached for something that just wasn't there. I reached once again and still it wasn't there. Tears started to suddenly pour like water from a watering can down my face, watering my cheeks and reaching to drip onto my chest. They watered my chest with salt drips of poetic longing for more than scientific essays. Once again, my hands flustered around and reached for something that just wasn't there. Instead, I felt the wet, beautiful water from my eyes that was touching my skin and cooling the pains. I sat calm for a while. I breathed and paused. I breathed and paused. I breathed and paused. I sat calm for a while. I realized no one had come onto me in a long time. And that made me laugh. It was a freeing feeling. I think I felt safe again. Safe to write about things that mattered to my heart. Safe to find the stories again that showed how people cared. There was a time when my friend came over in a disability bus. She couldn't walk to good. But she arrived with food and books and paper for me to use, and she loved me for an hour or two, in the middle of isolation time. I remember this with a warm smile. There was a time when a friend brought her puppy over just so I could feel the happiness of an animal in my home for a number of hours. She just let me hug and kiss her puppy. And she let me calm down as I talked and enjoyed their love. I remember this with a warm heart. There was a time when a friend came over and dropped off a quilt. She was too cautious to talk or stay. She dropped over the quilt, and for much time, I felt the adventure of figuring out how to not feel too quilty to have my own blanket after giving blankets to many others. Just recently I snuggled up with it, and it was warm for my heart. There was a time also when I called the distress line. I thought I was going to talk about coping tools. I talked to someone about working at summer camp. She too had worked for 10 years at one. She too had ideas about kids and working. She went on to work on a cruise ship after that. I was so proud. I told her of my work designing different programs here, and going to leadership camps, and we talked like people who connected on a level of respect and joyous reunion. There was a time of being home too long alone and feeling some of the joys and efforts of Titanic, and the stars of that show. I learned about them, and it felt like they learned about me too. We hoped together and felt losses together. There was also times when there were sweet messages from the water, helping me to be healthy as I went through time alone. The water was a sustainer that helped me to feel the refreshing feelings of a greater caring. During the time of isolation, there was a sweet man who wrote a lot about climate change, and I was inspired to keep the promises to be part of the process of steadying the climate. I learned so much from this. Learned from experience about that steadying and the joy of a more natural level of temperature change. There is a lot of caring that happens, and as I write these stories in the future, something happens to me. These lovely experiences continue in some ways with these people and other people. My tears have started to dry and my skin is sparkling and my eyes are glistening. I am sure that there is room for more caring in my life too, even if there are times when candles sit unlit waiting for reconnection, at another time when friendships will be remembered and continued while other friendships happen and are shared with love and hopes and new discoveries and new styles of social interaction without social exchange. but with interaction that is so sweetly special as to become part of an ongoing feeling of sustenance. I take my reading glasses off and put some sunglasses on that are so light and pretty, and I go sit by the sunshine with other beautiful parts of my life. I put down my essays and I pick up my quill with the feather on it to write the stories of the heart.